Michigan Outdoor Obsessions Beyond the Backyard is brought to you by Ultimate Archery and Outdoors, Ultimate Deer Products, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company, Edge Attracts Incorporated, Jay's Sporting Goods, and Tacticam. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Backyard. And that's also we got our friend Joe here. We brought him in to talk about the wildly controversial coyotes in Michigan. Before we get started, I want to thank all of our sponsors, Ultimate Archery and Outdoors in West Branch, Ultimate Deer Products, Red Light Food Plot Seed Company, Edge Attracts Incorporated, Tacticam, and Jay's Sporting Goods. But Joey brought you in because you're a good deer hunter, you're a good predator hunter, taking out the coyotes. And the big issue we have right now in Michigan is there's an abundance of coyotes. And a lot of that comes from, well, different reasons. Not enough people hunt them. But it doesn't help when we had, last spring, they made it so you can't harvest coyotes from April 15th to July 15th because of the whelping period or them having pups. And so I'm looking it up here, and the stupidest thing about it is their opinion was basically what they said right here. They says they did it because their concerns over social perception of hunting during whelping season. So they did it because they were afraid what people would think, not so much for the a factual thing or a scientific based decision. It was more of just straight up personal opinions. They were scared people were going to have, just like everything in this day and age, everyone's always afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. And so, and then I heard another group. They're called the Project Coyote. So their goal is to protect coyotes. And their statement, when they reacted to that whole change in the season, they said they were talking about all the different coyote hunt seasons, and they were saying misconceptions about the song dog have existed for centuries. The result being that over 500,000 coyotes are killed annually. And basically said there's no reason they should be being killed. That if you kill them, then you're going to have mice in your house. You're going to have all these things that they should be killing that are going to be taking over your gardens. I mean, you're a guy that, like I said, you shoot deer and you shoot coyotes. What are you seeing out there as far as not only deer hunting, but when you're coyote hunting, as far as over the last couple of years?
Do it. I don't know, real heavy. I don't know, it's been probably 8-9 years ago now. Coyotes everywhere. We got into it, hunted them. With everybody doing it, and it is getting tremendously popular. It basically has it's blown up, and there's a lot of people hunting out there. I've lost a lot of properties, other people. So there's people doing it. But there's no shortage of them, even at that point of it. The only thing I have noticed is, back in the day, probably 25 years ago, when I seen my first coyote in Michigan, and it was like crazy because they were not really around down here in the southern part eating out here. And now it's nothing to see them. They're everywhere. But it's you watch the fox populations that were virtually non-existent have started making a comeback when we were beating on these coyotes for good 4, 5, 6 years in a row. We were getting our native creatures back in that point. It was kind of nice to see that happen a little bit. So it's like because fox and coyotes, they're not going to coexist. Rebound quickly on you, and it'll just take out the natives. I mean, I would rather see the fox than the coyotes around. I mean, I'm not saying we got to completely get rid of them, but there's no shortage of them. I mean, you can go out right now with the closing of last year throughout the summer months. It went from, I mean, pretty much every time we go out anymore, we can shoot 2, 3 of them at a time. It seems like anymore, which tells me they're rebounding. They're everywhere. They really are. They need to be managed just like anything else, in my opinion, anyway. So,
I saw that they each have average 4 to 7 pups. Is
that yeah. I mean, I've been in fields before, and I've called them in where I think one night we had 8, 10 pups we had come in. We were surrounded by adults at the same point. There was a couple different litters in there. I've seen that numerous times over the years. You can get a whole bunch of pups, moving around and all that as they're moving them around from their den sites and what have you. And that's a lot. I mean, some of those kind of sits, you're shooting 5, 6 coyotes a night at that point. I've had that happen before several times. So if you're doing that, there's a lot of them out there, obviously, at that point. that I mean, and as they multiply, they're just like rabbits, it keeps right on rolling. So
And they shoot. Was that? I thought I was reading that they average. They say they average 1.5 fawns per coyote. So almost
I'd
two
say
fawns, if not more than
I'd
that,
say
probably.
a minimum at
Yeah,
that point. I mean,
yeah.
that's probably shooting on the low side, to be honest. But I mean, the numbers a crapshoot, but they do get them. I mean, I find them here in my house all the time. I mean, I'll find them. This is the time of year they're dropping like crazy. The fawns are every.
Yep. And they know that too. I mean, they're not idiots. They know what time of year it is.
Oh yeah, it's buffet time right now. I mean, they got everything I want for them right now. So they're hungry mouths to feed back at the den. They're hunting like crazy, and they're getting anything and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of deer are gonna go down for it, and it's gonna be worse. Obviously, with the season closing, there's a lot of surplus on the coyotes right now, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
it's gonna keep compounding over and over and over and getting worse if it continues on this way.
I
So
know up here when my daughter shot her one buck a couple years ago, she shot it at probably whatever time it was, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night in the summer there. And we went back we tracked it, went back the next morning at probably 7:30 in the morning, and it was stripped. Every part of that deer was stripped down to just the head. There wasn't a
oh
there
yeah.
wasn't a organ in that thing. You know, in just that short of time, how quick it just shows you how many coyotes are in the area and how close they are. I mean,
Do a whole
yeah.
about it.
You can't even take that risk anymore. Back in the day, you'd be
It
like, well, we'll let her sit for the night. Well, and it's like you're not gonna have a deer in the morning.
exactly. It's you never used to hear about it, like you're just saying, and now all of a sudden it's kind of sketchy. I mean, it really is. It's like you don't know what you're gonna come up with, for the next day. I mean, fortunately, where I'm at, I keep on the coyotes pretty good. I have yet to have that issue, but that being said, it's a matter of time, and I'll have it happen to me. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
Are you
It'll
still
happen.
hunting them pretty hard, the coyotes?
Well, right now, obviously, with the season shut down,
No.
the
Yeah.
only thing we can do is get into issues on cow farms. Any kind of livestock issue if they're having issues. We're fortunate enough to where we have a few farms that we're hunting that are having issues that we're able to get
Yeah.
out maybe once a week right now.
Yeah.
And we're going right
Now,
along right now
question.
with it.
I was reading about that. What is the actual? I know that it says it's closed unless you're like hurting your livestock.
Yep.
What is the DNR actually saying? Like how tight are they on that? Like we need to physically see you. You know what I'm saying? Do they need to see physical damage, or is there even just a chance of it? Then you can hunt them.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you tell a farmer out there that you got to let it hurt one of the animals before they're going to do something about it, they're going to laugh at you and say, "Oh, I'll just take my chances." Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they're out there and they're around the livestock when the cows are calving and all that kind of stuff, it's a matter of time. Something's going to happen. So we just had one. I don't know, 3 4 weeks ago. Um, the cow had given birth and she had coyotes running around and she was literally about to stroke out trying to keep the coyotes off her new calf that she had. By the time that they realized it, they don't know how many hours it had been happening or whatever. But we went in there, turned the collar on, and just like that, two of them came out. We shot both of them. Done over, and they haven't had an issue since. Problem solved. I mean, nobody knows any of the wiser. I mean,
No.
it's quiet. Thermal suppressors done over with. Nobody knows anymore. We got a happy farmer. We got happy animals. Good deal at that point.
I mean, do you get
So
contacted quite a bit? I mean, do you have farmers contacting you guys to come take out coyotes?
we got quite a few people that I got a lot of guys landowners that I tell them, say, if you're having issues with them, let us know. If they're there at that point, let us know. We'll get in there and get after them. We got guys that grow pheasants and let pheasants out, and like they let them out, and they're like, within a week we have coyotes are overran with coyotes. They're like, get over here and start doing some work on them. We can go over in 2 weeks. We'll shoot 3 4 5 in an area, in about a mile area, and all of a sudden things are kind of calming down a little bit.
Mm.
So as far as the DNR goes, I mean, I think if you're basically hunting on that farm or right across from that farm, right there adjacent to it, I don't see a DNR going to give you an issue with it. You know what I mean? Like as long as you have
No.
permission and and the farmer says, yeah, I'm having issues, I think a DNR would be kind of foolish to go against it
And
otherwise.
I think on a lot of these stupid rules that have been put out there on whether it may be baiting or whatever it may be out there, and there's a lot of DNR that will say certain stuff about it. You'll hear them talk, and I think they even know, like, okay, obviously it's a stupid law. They know coyotes are a problem.
Yep.
The DNR officers aren't the problem. They're just enforcing what they're being told to enforce. But
It's just doing their
uh,
job. Yes.
yeah, they're not going to go over the top and try to stick you on something so stupid like that.
I think as long as you're being legit and you're
Yeah,
respectful, just like anything else, if you have an interaction with police, same thing, you're going to get back what you give off kind of thing. So,
yeah,
I don't think you're going to have issues. I mean, we're not driving around hunting all night long right now, doing nothing like that. It's just more or less, when we have an issue, we get in there. If they're having consistent issues, we wait for the weather to line up right, and then we'll go in when we have better odds in our favor to go in, get it done, get the heck back out of there. And like I said, no one knows any better at that point. It's just we're in, we're out, done and over with, and everybody's happy. So
yeah.
it's just kind of what we've been doing with it. So I mean, I've yet to have a run in with any kind of an officer on that end of it, I guess, out of season. So I guess I can deal with that if and when it ever happens. But other than that, we're just trying to take care of our livestock farmers right now that allow us to hunt their properties for the main part of the year as well, and kind of keep things kosher for them and all that. So I mean, yeah, good to go. I mean, they know the same thing, like they're there to keep other things under control too. They're not looking for eradication. It's just controlling it, at that point with it. That's
Why
what
does
they're
it
looking
feel
for.
like? Why does it feel like that constantly, like on every level, the NRC is doing stuff to like hurt our deer population? I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot. I mean, I don't even. It's politics, in my
yeah,
opinion. It's all politics and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it goes. I mean, there's a new thing right now with the farmers saying that they're going to allow them to, once their crops in the ground, that they don't even have to really have shown. I don't know all the
I think
ins
it's
and
all
outs, but I
growing
guess
season now.
it's the whole growing season. Yes, I have a lot of my family are farmers. They're looking into it right now to see what they can do, and I'm like, I, I don't even know anymore. Like they're doing anything and everything they can to try to get rid of all these deer, and I don't know. I think there's easier ways of doing it, but
Well, to
I'm
them, if you talk to some of these farmers, they compare them to like a rat. I mean, them,
yeah,
a deer is nothing but a nuisance.
yep. It's a double-edged sword. You get a lot of them that they want the deer shot, but yet they're gonna make somebody pay to hunt their ground or whatever, because they're not just gonna let anybody hunt their ground. So the people paying aren't out there just to kill anything and everything. They're generally trying to do what most people do nowadays. Is they're looking for a buck, or whatever, or
Yeah,
bigger bucks, and
yeah.
trying to grow some stuff and get things going. So it's kind of a weird spot to get into it with them. It's you kind of they gotta set rules with it. So, like it gets weird. Like I just talked to a guy the other day, and he actually goes, "I'm looking to get permission to hunt his place." He goes, "Hey man, I actually kind of want coyotes around to try to control my deer." All right. Well, what have you been doing to get rid of your deer? Are you shooting lots of does? Are you allowing friends and family to come over and try to help take out some of these does? Are you only seeing this number of deer in the winter season when they're herding up a little bit, or is this a year-round thing that you're seeing? Like there's a whole lot of things that go into it and ways to combat that issue. It's just whether or not people are willing to, I guess, is the other thing. Here at my own place, I have friends and family come over to out shoot deer. We have so many and not enough around that with people shooting. So I do what I can to try to help it, but I can only do so much. I only have so much freezer space and time. Me and my kids will both try to get one or
Mhm.
two each year to help out. Anything more than that, I deem we need to do, we'll bring in friends and family with it to try to help the issue with it, doing what I can anyway. So I'm the small parcel in between some larger ones. So I can only do so much on my end, but it seems to work pretty good for us here. We're
Yeah.
having great luck
I
with
just
everything.
like I've said before in different episodes, I feel like Michigan is such a crap show when it comes to our management of our fishing and our hunting here. It's just like you feel like every other state has it locked in, and Michigan just shoots from the hip. It's just
Oh, without a doubt.
it's just random shit, and it's like, how can someone try? How can you be so good to mess up so many times? Without doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The whole CWD thing is a prime example of it. I mean, it been so frowned upon to where then it was if you were, I can't remember, one of the hunts you were allowed to, which I can't believe that. Then it was the sharpshooters were allowed to bait in some of the cities and suburban areas to be able to shoot them. And now they're talking about doing the permit, to allow you to
Yeah.
do it. So I don't know how you can go from it's the worst thing in the world to, well, for a fee you could do this now.
But even they were letting them, which I don't have a problem with. Don't get me wrong, but they're letting the disabled hunters and the veterans and
Yep.
stuff use, which I don't have a problem with. But if it's truly such a horrible thing that it was spreading a disease, then
Yes.
as much as I feel that they should be able to use it to help them hunt, if it was a bad thing, nobody should be able to use it in the whole state. I don't care what you're doing.
Exactly.
If it's going to spread disease, you can't pick and choose which ones you can let use it.
Very, very true. Yeah, I mean it's all or none at that point, and it's the only way around it. But basically it comes down to extortion, in my opinion. I mean, it's legal for a price here. Okay, yeah, whatever. I guess it's above me. It's way above my pay
We have a
grade.
CWD problem, but for $20, we can make it go away.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, yeah.
But so,
So
so I mean, you're out. What do you guys? I mean, okay. Well, so last year was the first year of the whole change.
yep.
So I guess, I mean, did you see much of a change just from last summer to the previous summer?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it went. I kind of got busy with life for a while. Got back into it pretty big with a brother-in-law of mine. This last year, we really started kind of getting after it a little bit the summer before. And there's coyotes, but they were educated and whatever, just being the shutdown period. We finally got back after them, and all of a sudden, it's like he goes, dude, this is like night and day difference. I'm like, no, you don't get them hunted for that. And all those pups make it through the year, and all that with it. So you have all these other coyotes out here now that are uneducated, that are out there, and you have massive surplus. It's nothing, like I said, to go out anymore. I mean, I've seen a massive influx of coyotes in the last since I shut that down. And I mean, it was for a while there we were killing them during the regular season when we get out and get after them, but it was slim. I mean, it was less chances when what we were normally doing. Ever since I shut it down, it pretty much almost can't go out without getting one now. At least one, if not two or three a night, which is telling me there's a massive influx.
Dude, and
Because
that's crazy because that's just 1 year of that rule being in place.
exactly 1 year. So imagine as this keeps on rolling, what's going to continue on here with it. So it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. I mean, right now is your best time to get out there, and honestly, back in a little bit into April there, because if you can get that one female that's got a den full, harsh as it may sound, you do a whole lot of good real quick. Like you could neutralize a whole lot, because if they all don't make it, you just did a whole lot of work at that point. One shot
Yeah.
can save countless amount of issues at that point. So,
Yeah, you think about how many fawns are every mom you shoot, how many fawns you're saving.
oh, you'd probably be sick to know how many really truly it would be. And if you can take out a whole litter literally in one shot, well, that's pretty effective. So it's like I said, it's not an eradication thing. It's a management tool, and it's a great time to be able to manage them. Not saying they shouldn't be there. They're cleaners. They do good. They take out the weak,
Yeah.
wounded
They have
deer.
their part. It's just you got to
Definitely.
keep it under control, man.
Exactly. And same thing with our wolf stuff. Same issue at that point with it. I think it's a decent thing that they're there, but it needs to be controlled very strictly. And there's a reason that they basically have gotten rid of the dang things
Yeah.
over the years and centuries, way back. I mean, there was a reason for it. So
Well,
it's
what doesn't make sense about it is that they're so strict now on, um, like for example, they tried to shut down the kids shooting bucks during the youth hunt because they said they wanted people to shoot more does. So obviously they're trying to manage the herd, right? So
yep.
I feel like every kind of species out there, you need to manage them in some way to keep them in balance, to keep them in check and balance. So you can't sit there and try to manage a deer herd and say, well, we need to shoot more does. And then on the other hand, you're letting your coyote population, your predator population just run wild. I
Yeah.
mean, they
Which
just,
I see what they're doing. I think is to try to combat that as far as, to have them get more deer, whatever. If they want them to get more deer, I mean, as much as some people are going to be strongly against it, lower the licenses down on the does. Bring up, and I mean, I think, and it's not every area. They need to do a county by county basis in my opinions on that. As far
yeah,
as
why do you have $20 doe tags if you want people to shoot does?
exactly, they ought to go back to $5. And for the counties like around here with us, we have massive numbers of deer, and
Yeah.
we have big we basically it's like a doe contest every year, and within a couple square miles we'll shoot between 30 to almost 60 to 70 does in like 2 to 3 days, and it don't even put a dent in them. It don't put a dent. You can drive around thermals at nighttime and you can count 400 deer in 2 miles still. So we do what we can around here, obviously, but I mean, at the same point, it's $20 a pop. I'm not so willing to go out there and start piling deer up and trying to donate them and this and that. You put them down to $5, yeah, it makes me want to do it a little bit more, I guess, at that point. But $20 a pop, and it's like, I don't know. It's a lot. Like I
Yeah.
said, there's certain areas that they need to allow more numbers on, maybe cheaper licenses, and then there's obviously a certain area like the UP is its own thing that should not even be brought into our state's regular laws. They need to be on
Yeah,
their own.
they need their whole separate thing up there.
Yes, they do, and even a lot of
I
them
did
go there.
see now that they are letting you shoot does during bow season up there.
Yeah,
That was a new thing that just got brought in.
yeah. So it's like I said, they need to. Yeah, there's ways of getting around it. I think I don't know. I mean, if they're so big into all these sharpshooters and all this stuff, they're bringing into control this stuff. Instead of
That's the
spending
thing, man. Like
numbers
you
on
won't
that
let
stuff.
us hunt, but you're gonna pay people to come to slaughter them.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes zero sense. And the amount of money they probably throw at that kind of stuff is, I'm sure, if we found out about it, would be probably sickening. Honestly, like why don't they pay out a bounty on something that if they're going to willing to throw that away? Because you throw a bounty on it, guaranteed people are going to get after it real quick. Like,
Oh yeah, people will
oh,
show up with truckfuls of dough for you. If you
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. $5 every doe you bring to us. Oh, now you're feeding all the hungry. Great. And you're getting your does down. Great. That's a win-win-win. I mean, it,
yeah,
it could happen. I
yeah,
mean,
there actually is a true. I mean, you could really use the problem to do good.
yeah. Oh, you definitely could. Yeah. I mean, but again, it's going to come down to politics, and there's going to be way bigger things out there that somebody isn't going to like it. And some people are going to think it's too extreme or whatever. Well, sometimes I think you need to get there with it to make things happen. But it is what it is. I mean, we're kind of along for the ride. The NRC is doing what they're doing, and it don't seem like we can really do much about it. Honestly, just kind of ride with them. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating.
It's
So,
just a constant. It feels like a constant battle between the NRC and the DNR.
yep. Yeah, I think the DNR is obviously, on this whole coyote thing, they were neutral on the whole thing. I think they thought no matter what we do, whether we close it down or keep it open, I don't think, I think they said that we're not going to see a difference with much of this. And it was the NRC that pushed forward with it, and then they were influenced by a few certain groups,
Yep.
PETA, a couple of the houndsmen, not all, but there was a couple of select people there that were affiliated with them that, which gave a black eye to all of them at that point, it just made everybody get furious about it. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. They should have never gave in. The whole sound science thing is what they should have went with, stayed with, and emotions and feelings need no part of this kind of stuff. It just
I
needs to
mean,
be
look
done.
at it, like we talked not to get into the wolf thing, but like you said back then, they used to what? They had a wolf season for a short time up in the UP, and
Yep.
then they let that whatever. Obviously that ended, and look at that,
Yep.
it's just running rampant, man. Wolves are just destroying, eating everything and anything. I mean, and
Oh
they're
yeah.
taking out coyotes too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They'll clean everything, and it's, yeah. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
topic for another day, obviously. So we could talk for days on that, obviously. I mean, there's so much false information on all that stuff, but it needs to be managed. They need to have some fear put into them. It's just a matter of time, and people are going to start being on the other end of the, what's going on with the wolf problem. And, when that happens, maybe then somebody will wake up, but it shouldn't have to get to that point, when someone's kid gets killed by one, or somebody, walking their dog gets, killed by him or whatever, because it's a matter of time. Something's probably bound to happen up there. I mean, it's just the dog hunters up there are just having nothing but run-ins with them. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of time at that point. Something will happen
Now,
for sure.
now, even not to get off the topic, but even so, we just got done with turkey season. We're getting ready to wrap it up here on the
Yep.
turkeys. What did you see it change too with obviously the coyote problem? Did you see a change as far as number of turkeys you saw this season?
Um, Honestly, my turkey numbers have been kind of coming back the last couple of years. Um, I don't think it's got anything to do with the coyotes. I think before it was peak nesting periods for at least around my areas, we were getting torrential floods and heavy, super heavy rains. We have a lot of low ground around here, which is where a lot of our hens are going to have their nest at. I think that was taking and causing a lot of issues with our bird numbers. But that being said, I went to a farm that I've hunted for 20 some years this year to go put a blind out, and I found a turkey carcass laying there. Now, I can pretty well tell you what that was from. There's mud all over the place out there. It's on a dairy farm, and there's coyote tracks everywhere. I can pretty well tell you what happened right there. So they get them. How much? I don't know. I really don't know on that one. But I mean, I have seen a lot of coyotes turkey hunting over the years, lots of them. So probably more turkey hunting than I almost have probably deer hunting, to be quite honest. So that's got to tell you something. So,
I think
um,
just like I said, the numbers, even in northern Michigan here up in Charlotte County. I mean, like I told you about the deer being stripped, but I mean, it's crazy at night, man. When you get out here, they light up from every. Back in the day, you'd have like a couple here and there. You might hear them, and it's like the whole area lights up from every direction.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, we'll get nights like that, and they'll be four-sided, and there'll be groups of them all the way around us. Like there's a lot of either we just got lucky and they all converged right here at one time to all be this close with us, or there's just plain too many of them around. And I think that happens quite often where you'll hear multiple sets around you, and it's like, I mean, I don't know how far you can truly hear them away. Being down here is more hustle and bustle and more noises
Yeah,
than way up in the north country. It's quieter, but
yeah.
um, they're around. I mean, there's lots of them. There's no doubt about it. There's lots of them
And
around.
then even think of like the old school. Like you guys are using all the thermos and stuff. You think the old school trappers, there's not a lot of those guys around anymore. I mean, you
The
got
fur
some here and
market's
there,
done.
but there's not. Yeah, there's not what there used to be as far as the guy because there's no money for it. Number one, the
Yep.
pelts aren't worth crap as far as what they used to be.
No, unless you can get in there on a nuisance and you can. I mean, there are still some ways to do stuff, but in order to do it, you ain't just putting up your fur and being able to sell it. You're almost got to go through with the entirety of it. It seems like to get it tanned out and do all that and literally get it to where it's good to go. And then there's
Yeah,
ways of doing it, but you're having to go extra steps over what you were to
yeah,
try to make it. And you're putting out a lot more time and a lot more money to try to make the same money or less money. I mean, you ain't doing it making good money anymore. I don't think at it.
no,
I mean, the raccoons are horrendous. I mean, the numbers of them. I mean, it's baffling when you go out at nighttime with thermals and see how many raccoons are every. I mean, it is ridiculous the amount that are out there, and it's
herds of raccoons.
yes, yeah. It's honestly, it makes you wonder we have any birds of any kind around any cornfield standing. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you go out in the field and you turn on the coyotes' vocals, and the woods light up with raccoons crawling up trees. You just see them littered through the woods all of a sudden because they all take for the trees when the coyotes howl every time. And every farm you go to, there's 5 to 10 that you can see just from where you're standing in one spot. That's another issue, that needs to be addressed with it. I
Yeah,
mean, but
yeah,
one day something's gonna get with that where I don't know if they get diseased out and eventually Mother Nature takes care of herself, or it'd be best to try to not let it get that point, I guess, honestly. So, and keep it in check and all that. But again, it's just trying to keep people to take care of their place and do their own stuff. And it gets hard, you know. I mean, everybody's got their own opinions on it. So
It's definitely not a cheap sport to get into as far as the shooting part, right? I mean, if you want to get just for instance, if you want to get set up what you have, what are you looking at
uh
range wise?
it can vary a lot, obviously, but if you, my wife's probably
Hey, your wife won't see this video, so
you can go a lot of money. You can go into a sick amount of money. But your typical stuff, I mean, you're probably talking, yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on what all you do, I guess. But the average guys around here that are doing stuff we're doing are probably sitting at 8, 10 grand on stuff that they're walking out with every time. And that's
sheesh.
probably getting on the lower side of it, honestly.
Like
Um,
if you want to get into a basic thermo, what's it cost for a thermoscope?
uh, prices are coming down on them. They're getting more reasonable, but I'm going to say probably in the 2 to 3 thousand range to get you a pretty solid unit overall with it. That'll get you what you need to do.
And that's basically a starter one.
You can go cheaper. You can get them down cheaper, but it's going to be to the point where you're not going to get anything really out of it for the most part. At that point, you might as well go a little bit cheaper and go to night vision because you'd be better off if you get into the real low end stuff with it. So, but I'd say right around in there would be 2,000 to 3,000. Right in there is you're pretty much your typical range for the run of the mill, in my opinion, anyways. So, but you can get them down, a couple down to like $800. But again, you're not going to get nothing out of that at that point. So you'd be very limited in what you can see, and the nights with air quality is not so great. It's going to suffer greatly at that point. So while the
Heck,
higher
just go buy a rifle and buy the old light, the old school way.
Yep, that's how I started out. Was way back in the day. It was a regular rifle. I had a battery pack with a cord that hooked to a red light on my gun. That's how I started back in high school. That's been what 25 plus years ago for us now, just about probably.
Yep.
And then it went to daytime hunting for a while there. And then I got into using red lights for scanning and stuff. And then I went to night vision, then thermal scanner, then on thermal everything. And it just kind of just keeps rolling at that point. But it's definitely pretty cool what you can see nowadays. I mean, stuff's pretty amazing. So, but
Well, hopefully when it all comes said and done, the state starts seeing this stuff get out of control and they do something about it instead of just letting it run to the point you can't return. I mean,
and that's I can see, if they can do that, that would be one thing, to let this go for a couple of years and maybe figure some things out and seeing if they are having bigger issues. Maybe they step in and say, all right, well, we can't do that. All right, well, it was a trial error, period, good deal, and let's just not go back there again, kind of thing, hopefully. But right now, I heard that there's stuff in the works for it still. They're waiting on all the commissioners to be able to vote on things. Will it happen? I don't know. Don't hold your breath on it. So they're pretty good at failing us, it seems. So
that's what they do best.
They're doing good at that. So,
but that's gonna wrap it up for this week, Joe. Appreciate you coming on here and giving your insight on this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But everyone, thanks for watching this episode of Beyond the Backyard. Make sure you tune in. Every week we'll have a brand new episode come up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you find out when our brand new episodes drop. But from me and Joe, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.